Do you ever feel like your calendar, your health, or your circumstances are simply happening to you rather than being directed by you? What would shift in your daily outlook if you stopped viewing yourself as the passenger in your own life and reclaimed the driver's seat? Hey, welcome to the Ignite Retirement Podcast. I'm Bill Hennessy, the Retirement Igniter, and I'm here to help you stop drifting. Today, we're talking about a subtle and dangerous shift that happens to so many of us as we enter these latter years, and a clear path out of it. It's the difference between merely managing your decline or stepping fully into the igniter lifestyle. It's a slow-moving, often invisible surrender of agency. It's that feeling that life is happening to us, that our time, our energy, our horizons are being dictated by some external force, by age, by the economy, maybe even by our past. But I believe that the greatest retirement risk isn't your portfolio or your health. It's the loss of belief that you're the primary actor in your own life. When you reclaim that role, you transition from standard retirement into what I call ignited living. It's a completely different posture. I learned a lesson about this years ago while working interculturally. It wasn't in a classroom, it was in the messy, frustrating reality of travel. I've been traveling quite a bit, and I found myself in a situation where I was quite simply late. I didn't make it to the gate on time. The doors had closed. The plane had departed. In my American cultural context, the phrasing was simple and immediate. I missed my flight. That sentence, I missed my flight, is a profound assertion of role. It places the responsibility squarely on my shoulders. I was the one who miscalculated the traffic. I was the one who didn't leave the hotel early enough. It was me. I was the one who was distracted. But because I owned the mistakes, I also owned the solution. I went to the desk, I rebooked, I found a new route, and I took control of my trajectory. But as I spent more time working in these different cultures, I noticed a very different way of speaking about the exact same situation. In some cultures, the phrasing wasn't, I missed the flight. It was, the plane left me. And at first, it just sounded like a language thing, a semantic quirk. But then I realized that it was a tectonic shift in perspective. When you say, I missed my flight, you're the agent of your own destiny. You have the power to change, to pivot, to fix. When you say the plane left me, you're the victim in an indifferent world. You're a passive observer. The plane is an active force, and you're a stationary object that's been abandoned. That tiny linguistic trap changes everything. In the second half of life, it's a trap that lies in wait for all of us. How many of us started saying, the plane left me, about our own lives? My health just isn't what it used to be. My body's failing me. Or the world changed so fast, it just left me behind. Oh, my family's busy and they just don't make time for me anymore. It's a subtle, corrosive mindset. When we stop saying, I missed the flight, when we stop taking ownership for our own choices and our own paths, we stop building our lives and start merely managing our decline. The secret to ignited living isn't found in some checklist or a formal, rigid process. It's found in the specific architecture of the igniter lifestyle. It's about building a daily container that forces you to be intentional every single day. When I look at my life in the wood shop, my podcast, my writing, I'm not just keeping busy. I'm intentionally constructing a life where the plane cannot leave me because I'm the one plotting the course. It requires a radical commitment, and I have to be honest with myself. It starts with the willingness to look at the stories that you've been telling yourself about who you are and what you can do. We all carry baggage from our previous careers or past expectation, and sometimes we have to look back at those versions of ourselves and thank them for their service and then release them to clear the deck for who we're becoming now. If you don't have a North Star, if you don't have a clear sense of your own purpose, the world will happily provide one for you. And usually it's a comfortable, passive one. It might even have a TV remote control. It's a life of consumption, not creation. It's a life waiting for the phone to ring rather than picking it up. Building this architecture means you need to be ruthless about your environment. What tools are you using? Who are you listening to? What systems do you have in place to make sure that you're moving forward? In my workshop, I'm restoring an old Philco radio. I have to be precise. I have to understand the wiring, the history, the hazards, the materials. I have to show up to the bench with intent. It isn't just about the radio, it's about the practice of showing up as an active participant. You need your own bench. It might be your writing, it might be community service or fitness or your continued education. But you need a place where you are the master of your own craft. Ownership is a heavy word, but it's the only word that guarantees freedom. When you decide you're responsible for your own happiness, it stops being a burden you bear and becomes a source of power you enjoy. If you're bored, it's not because the world is dull, it's because you haven't yet found the project that lights you up. If you feel isolated, it isn't because people have abandoned you, it's because you haven't yet reached out to build the community that you desire. This isn't about self-blame. It's about self-empowerment. The responsibility is yours, so the power to change it is yours. Every day you make dozens of micro decisions. You decide what time you're going to wake up, what time to read, who to call, how to treat your body, how to frame history. Every one of these is a chance to say, I missed my flight. Adjust and choose the Igniter lifestyle, because ignited living isn't something you stumble into, it's something that you deliberately construct. Don't let the passive language of culture drift into your internal monologue. The moment you start speaking as if things are happening to you, you've already begun to disengage. So look at your week. Where are you waiting for the plane to pick you up? Where are you sitting at the terminal, frustrated that life hasn't included you in its plan? You don't need a formal strategy to change this. You just have to change your posture. Stand up, take your bag, walk to the desk, and if you missed the first flight, book the next one. The second half of life isn't an ending. It's a season of profound influence if and only if you choose to own it. I want to help you stay in the pilot seat. I want to help you keep building and crafting and creating and contributing long after others have decided to coast. If this resonates with you, if you're ready to stop being a passenger and start designing a life of purpose, I want to invite you to the Igniter lifestyle. This isn't just about tactical retirement planning. It's a daily commitment to ignited living. It's about choosing energy over drifting and creation over consumption. Every week on my Substack, Ignited Retirement, I share the specific tools, the reflections, and the practical habits you're going to need to build this lifestyle and sustain your inner fire. Join the conversation. Head over to my Substack and subscribe today. Let's make sure that from now on, you're the one flying that airplane. I'm Bill Hennessy, and I'll see you there.